Welcome back to This Week in Auburn Sports. I'm Plainsman Sports Editor Eric Wallace, joined as always by Plainsman Assistant Sports Editor David McKinney. Got a full show for you this week, so we'll hop into it. The Auburn football team had its annual Pro Day this last week. A number of Auburn athletes got the chance to show off their skills, see what kind of drills that they would do in front of professional scouts, and there were a couple of big names, David, like Corey Grant and Sammy Coates, who really helped their draft stock a little bit, I'd say.
Yeah, Corey Grant had a pretty big day. I'd say he was probably the standout athlete there. Obviously, he's really fast. Yeah. I think he ran unofficial 4.2, 4.28.
4.26.
And I know one scout even clocked him at a 4.19. So he definitely impressed with his speed. But also on the bench press, he repped 225 22 times, which is pretty big for a running back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially someone who's so underutilized like him. Mm-hmm. And all in front of Bill Belichick as well.
Yeah, that's, all the players were saying it added a little bit of pressure having the Super Bowl champion head coach there. And just going back to Grant, he really showed off his athleticism with a 37-inch vertical, too. So you got to think that he's going to land somewhere, and somebody will give him a chance, even if he didn't get quite the chance to shine at Auburn this last year.
Right. He said after in interviews that he was kind of out to prove that he should have been invited to the Combine, like guys like Sammy Coates, who let his Combine stats stand with the 40 and the bench and the vertical jump and all that, but he said that his goal at Pro Day was to come out and show that he wasn't just a freak athlete, that he could catch passes with his hands and run routes correctly, and I think he did that.
Yeah, it's important for him to do that when you got a guy like Belichick there who's been in the market for a big-time wide receiver for a long time. Coates' name has come up in that discussion, so you got to think that he was there, looking at Coates pretty hard. And we saw him coaching Coates throughout the day. So it was an interesting day. Guys like Jeff Whitaker, who may not really be making it to the next level, got to show off their strength. He repped 41 times on the bench press. It was crazy. He was ripping them off like every second. I don't even know if I could do one. But it was a good day at Pro Day. We'll see how that pans over to the draft coming up in April. Moving on to other sports, softball is still the standard of success on campus. They're out in California this week. Playing in a tournament. They won their first 2 games already, David, and it looks like this is a big weekend for them because they're playing a lot of Pac-12 competition, and we'll see what they got.
Yeah, they're playing some good teams. Last night in the game 1 against Long Beach, they were down 5-1 in the bottom of the 7th, and they rallied, tied it up, and they went to overtime and extra innings, and got down again 7-5, and in the bottom of the 8th, Casey Cooper had an RBI single, and it was a walk-off, and they won that game. They won the next game 4-1 against Pacific. And they're playing on the West Coast. They're still winning. They're definitely the best team on campus right now. And on Sunday, they're actually taking on Clint Meyer's old team, Arizona State.
Yeah, that'll be a nice homecoming for him, just to get to see some of the old staff members that he worked with at Arizona State for so long. But we'll see if they can keep it up. Make sure you check out our website for full updates and recaps from all the action out in Fullerton. Moving on to gymnastics, they got a pretty big weekend ahead. They take on the Kentucky Wildcats in Lexington tonight. And they'll also try to end the incredibly long streak of losing to Alabama this Sunday in Birmingham, when they'll have a meet against the Crimson Tide. It's been a great season for Graybo. They're putting up all-time high scores. And I think really just the icing on the cake would be beating Alabama in Birmingham. So we'll see if they're able to end the streak there. Moving on back to the baseball diamond, the Tigers welcome Xavier to Plainsman Park this week. It's been an impressive start for Sonny Galloway this year. They're definitely improved if you've had a chance to get to the games. Keegan Thompson is still a stud. He's good for 7 innings of 1 to 2 run balls. So we'll see if they can take some of the momentum they gained from beating Alabama on Tuesday and take it to Xavier this week.
Yeah, it was a big win in Montgomery over Alabama. It's good to beat a rival. And then I think, like you said, Keegan Thompson is a huge part of their success. And I think Anthony Greer, leadoff batter Anthony Greer, I believe the Alabama game got him to 15 straight games with a hit.
Yep.
So him coming in and leading off, he kind of sparks the offense and gets things going for him.
And last year he struggled a little bit to get on base out of the leadoff spot, but this year we've really seen him take to it, and he's slapping singles around, just doing a little bit of everything for the Tigers and utilizing his great speed. Moving on to some less successful sports around campus, the women's basketball team's season came to an end yesterday after a loss in the second round of the SEC tournament to Texas A&M. They went on a little bit of a run to the end of the season, but it's got to still be a little bit disappointing for Coach Flo and company to have had the poor record that they did have. So.
Yeah, they had a tough season, obviously, 13, 14 game losing streak, but I think it's maybe not a confidence builder, but definitely ended on a positive with that 4-game win streak and then winning their first game of the SEC tournament. So I think that'll give them some sort of confidence heading into next season. Maybe things will get better from here.
Yeah, I mean, they're a young team. I believe they only lose one senior from this squad, so maybe they can pick up on some of the defensive adjustments that they made late in the season. They were creating a lot more turnovers. And we'll see if maybe this next season is better for Coach Flo and company. Staying on the hardwood, the men's basketball team has one last regular season game. They'll welcome Georgia to the Auburn Arena on Saturday. And then after that, it's do or die time. Auburn's season will ride on every game at the SEC tournament. Every game could be their last, David, and it's hard to say what a successful run in the SEC tournament would be. But I think just winning the first round game would be a step in the right direction. Yeah,
it's been a roller coaster season for the basketball for Bruce Bartle's squad this year. He's going to have his first losing season in his whole career. Mm-hmm. But there's been ups and downs. There's been bright spots, which I think is I think gives people a reason to hope for the future. There's a lot of new faces coming in, specifically Kareem Canty, who can play after sitting out a year. We've heard good things about him playing for the scout team. So. I think there's hope for the future, and who knows what can happen in the SEC tournament. Most likely Kentucky's going to win that, but we'll see what happens for the Tigers.
I mean, obviously a big storyline is whether or not Antoine Mason can make it back. His father's funeral was today, so obviously that's the first priority in his life. Who knows whether he'll be ready, by next Wednesday to make it back to the court. But that would be a big help for Auburn, and would probably give them a better chance of making it to Thursday or, who knows, Friday if they can get really hot. But other than that, that's all we got for this week in Auburn sports. If you're around campus, make sure you pick up a print edition of the Plainsman this week. Lots of great content. Be sure to follow along online all weekend for recaps from the sporting events. And also, we'll have a lot of coverage from Selma. The anniversary is this weekend, so be sure to check out our coverage of that. Other than that, me and David will see you next week for This Week in Auburn Sports.